our live NBA rundown, Run Pure Sports. My guy, Travis Mangone, and it's Friday. We have a big slate, some pretty exciting games to talk about. I was on the playback last night watching with the crew, so we had a good time watching Embiid get home. They were a little worried that the blowout run might happen. Tyrese Maxey led them back. That was an exciting game. And then I jumped off and just watched the Clippers and Warriors by myself. Tight first half, and then the Warriors just stomped on them. So I don't know what to make, but obviously this gives us an opportunity for one of our favorite pastimes here on the show. The Los Angeles Clippers now 0-4 with Russell Westbrook in the lineup. Travis, your thoughts from last night's and this week's NBA? You're muted, but we got to hear this.
I said, oh, no, I'm completely shocked, Fred. The Clippers hand the keys to Russell Westbrook and they're 0-4? No way. That's surprising. What are the truthers going to do in the chat today? What are you going to say?
I know.
I got to pull the chat up. I haven't pulled it up yet. Hang on. Let me pull it up. I got to see what Marquis – I don't know if Marquis was on that side. I feel like he was, but maybe Marquis was on that side. I got to see what the people are saying. And of course,
our guy Clyde says the Warriors bet was easier than his ex-wife, so we're already off to a good start in the chat today.
We are. I just want to see the truthers. I want to see the Russell Westbrook truthers really come out today, right? Like, I want to see them come out and still try and defend it. There's just no way. Like, it's not going to work. And I actually saw a really good tweet on Twitter today, Spread. Someone actually brought up a really great point. Whether his name's Russell Westbrook, his name's John Wall, his name is whoever, it doesn't matter, right? When you are trading, or not trading, but doing a buyout candidate and making him your starting point guard, your team's probably not a title contender, right? I mean, we're just being honest there. There's not many teams that 18 games left in the season, you hand the keys over to that point guard, you say, good luck, and we need you to be the guy. Like, it doesn't work. Like, they were already in trouble. Like, the ship was already sinking, if we're being honest. And Russell's just helping sink the ship completely. So that's kind of my take on it. I'm curious to get what you think on it, Spread, because you know me. I mean, obviously, I'm going to make fun of Westbrook. And, again, just to keep in mind, Spread, and this is me, I don't have to bring up an L that I had, but I thought the Russell Westbrook trade was going to be good for the Lakers, because what I thought was going to happen was I knew Westbrook would fall off at some point. I didn't think it would be as quick as it was, but I thought he could elevate the regular season enough. And then AD and LeBron could relax more in the regular season and then play well. So this is coming from someone that supported the trade when it instantly happened to the Lakers. As people want to bash on me, there is a tweet out there on Twitter that says that. There's also a tweet where I'll take my W where I said Andrew Wiggins of the Warriors is going to be a great trade. Awesome trade. So we're going to have things that we're right about. We're going to have things where we're wrong about. The instant that I saw the Westbrook thing not working, I was like, I'm out. This is not good, and I was wrong, and I took my L. Just like many people have to do. Instead of just dying with the ship, take the L early and move on. It's just this Clippers team is not winning a title. It's simple.
Yeah, I think, as much as he's not my favorite guy, LeBron James got everybody twisted, man. You're not supposed to be playing this well in your 30s, right? I want to build around guys that are between 25 and 30 years old. And I think we're seeing that with the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard's still a great player, but he's not the guy that led Toronto to that championship.
He Paul also George, doesn't I don't think he, and I'm not saying I 100% agree with this wholeheartedly, but when you win that playoff in Toronto, right? You win that title, it's easy to get lazy, right? It's easy just to sit back and enjoy the LA lifestyle, right? Spread. I mean, it's always 75 or better there. I mean, the weather, it's great there, not grinding it out.
Kicking it with Sedome. Yeah.
It's just easier to enjoy life. It's just simple. He already won his title, and his title he won was an amazing one, right? Traded to Toronto. It was a clear stamp of Kawhi Leonard Hall of Famer, right? You know what I mean? It was a clear stamp of approval. So that's kind of the point I'm getting at with Kawhi is I could just see him coasting the rest of the way. They let him play when he wants to. He doesn't have to kill his body. It's clear with the Spurs, there was this whole issue with hey, I want to make sure I can play on my own time. The Clippers let him play on his own time. So I don't know. sometimes the heart's not in it anymore. I don't know if Dame's not Dame. I'm typing out some content. That's why I said Dame's name. I don't know if Kawhi's heart is in it as much. And I get it. Once you win a title like that and the way you win it, it's easy to kind of get lazy, Spread.
Tyler, welcome to the show. Not a big surprise. We're slandering the Clippers in Westbrook. Would you like to jump in, or would you like to come to the defense of the lesser team in Los Angeles?
Nah, I really got nothing on this argument. I think we've beat this dead dog enough. So
we haven't, Tyler. Keep beating it. Come on, just pound it home.
Well, it was just like We the People on Wednesday. Travis said, "Are we going to slander Schrader now? Because he had a bad night and the Lakers lost." And I did it, and guess what? There was no engagement. Nobody cared, right? But Westbrook gets the whole deal. No, on the C-Dome bet, we pushed. So he's not going to be rocking the Kings.
How did you push on a 9.5? By the way,
because we made it 10.
That's
and he landed on 10. I know. I didn't even think about it. I thought he was going to get like 15. All right. So Tyler, I was on the playback with the guys last night. I saw the Mavericks and the 76ers, and the Mavericks got the win. Did you have eyes on that game? And are we getting more excited about this Kyrie and Luka pairing? I saw a fun flow chart last night, right? Did Kyrie and Luka each score 40 points each? Yes. Okay, the Mavericks are a contender in the Western Conference. No, they lost the game. They had 81 points. The rest of the team was in the 50s. Any thoughts on the Mavericks and the 76ers?
Yeah, I mean, they'll win some games when those two have big outings like that, but I still don't think they're a threat for the Western Conference, really.
I think they're more alive than you think. I'm not saying they're like last year, right? Like, you can argue they were live. You know what I mean? Like, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. Like, do you think this group can make it to the Western Conference Finals? Yeah, I think they can, right? Like, they have Kyrie and Luka at the end of the day. Their defense is going to have to get better. That's the one thing that's a big problem. But when you just have two stars like that, I think they're way more alive than you, I guess. But I'm not picking them as a favorite, right? I'm not out here beating the drum for it. But when you just have both of them in the playoffs, it's going to be humongous. And I'm curious I think the Maxi Kleber thing is a big thing for them because, again, they now will have the ability to go, hey, we can go Dwight Powell as our 5 or Maxi as our 5, depending on how the game goes, right? So they at least have that Swiss Army knife aspect of their team. When they're up, they can play the Powell lineup. When they're down, they can play the Maxi team. And again, their defense is going to struggle, but they have the offensive firepower to stay in games. If you want to be the person in the chat that says there's no chance they're beating KD and the Suns, yeah, sure, I get it. They are not the favorite. I 100% agree. But you don't know what injuries are going to happen throughout the playoffs. Sure, you don't know what's going to happen on the Mavericks side, but I think they're a top 4 team in the West. I think. Like, if you have to pick the top 4, it's probably, and I should just pull up the name just to make sure. Nuggets would have to be in that mix, and the Suns, right? It's those two. Those two are definitely in the mix for top 4, no doubt. Who are 3 and 4?
I'd say Memphis is better than Dallas.
I don't feel confident Memphis is better than Dallas. I really
Once
don't.
Adams is back, I'm fine with Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, Memphis can get stops.
But, like, Steven Adams can get taken out of a series, right? Like, it can easily happen. They could go the max.
Where are you getting buckets from when it comes to Dallas if the two guys aren't getting them? Or if Kyrie's ankle sprains, or if Luka's ankle sprains, they have no depth.
But if their ankle sprain, they're done anyways. Like, they are. Like, it's curtains for them, right? Like, it just is.
I don't like their depth. Like, I get it, they did it last year, but they were a lot deeper of a team. There is no bench.
How much depth do you need though? Like, so let's look at their actual roster. I know we're getting off track, but
no, it's fine. That's what we're here to do. It's Friday. Mangone's on the show. Yeah, they're going to get the winners, right? I mean, it's not like the final countdown.
Oh, wait, what happened? One of us cut out. Oh, that was me. Hold on. All right, I can hear you now. My fault. I hit a button and it moved my mics. But, yeah, I'm sick anyway, so I'd rather be talking sports than sitting and being miserable. So,
all right, wonderful. We're here for you.
All right, let's look at the Dallas depth, right, and see what they have. They have – I just want to – so, it's Luka. Oh, yeah, the depth is not the – so they got their depth is like 8. Like once you get to player number 9, it's bad, right? It's Luka.
I agree with you though. You go 8 deep in the playoffs traditionally, anyways.
Like they're fine. Like who is 3 and 4 in the West? Like 3 and 4 in the West is not good. Like it's a drop after 1 and 2, right? And people make the argument. Tyler over here, he's like likes to slander Jokic. So you can make the argument Jokic and the Nuggets aren't that great either. And then the Suns, who knows what they really are? We still don't know what that team is. It's a bunch of superstars together, but will it click? We'll have to see.
All right, we even got some King slander in here already, Travis.
I still take the Warriors over the Mavs too.
See, I'm not sold yet on the Warriors, but they're the team that can flip the switch. But I'm a big believer in, and we've seen it a lot. We've seen it with the Clippers spread. You and I have lived this one big time. We say the flip is going to switch and it doesn't, right? Like it's just the truth. And I don't know what's wrong with this Warriors team, but this team is not it right now. I don't know what. Now, let's see as Curry gets back. I know they've had a lot of injuries, but who's to say Curry doesn't, randomly have another injury during the playoffs, right? I mean, I just think the West is way more wide open than people think. I think everyone wants to crown the Suns as the team to win the West, and it's just over. And I think it's way more open than people think.
All right. Well, yeah, I would agree with you there. And it's going to be a fun one, that's for sure. I'm really looking forward to see how these NBA playoffs shake out. But before we see that, we're going to see how these seedings play out. So everyone says the regular season doesn't matter, but these teams are so close to each other. We have a lot of games that are going to affect those seedings tonight. So let's dive right in. First one, actually not too important for the seedings, but we're going to talk about it anyway. The Orlando Magic are -4. They're in Charlotte. They're taking on the Hornets. The total is 225. No LaMelo Ball, Tyler. We faded the Hornets the other night against the Suns, and now we're back at it, but they're playing the Magic. They're not playing the Phoenix Suns. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we like the Magic. This Hornets team without LaMelo I think, is a bottom 3 team in the league, possibly bottom 2. I mean, your best player is Terry Rozier. I don't think it's going to win you many games. Now you're going to play a Magic team when the Hornets, I mean, I guess they defended against centers better with Mark Williams, but that offense just doesn't look the same without LaMelo. I don't think you'll be able to keep up here, and I think Orlando's going to punish them down low. I'm on Orlando. I feel like that spread's a little short at -4.
All right. You like Orlando -4. It's projected the Magic winning by 5. Travis, talk to me about the side. The total's 225, and then, of course, break down the DFS implications of this game.
Yeah, before I dive into the DFS implications, I need to address Jabroni in the chat or whatever his name is. Jabroni Clyde. Yeah, that's it. I need to address, he says, the dynasty of the Warriors, you live under a rock, Mangone. Here's the thing. At some point, things change. They just do. I'm not saying I for sure think the Warriors dynasty is ending today, right? Not saying that. What I'm saying is when you go an entire season long, right, and the switch hasn't been flipped, sometimes it doesn't flip. That's all I'm saying. I'm also saying that if there's a team that can do it, it's that team. But I think the matchup in the first round for them matters a lot. That's all I'm saying. I'm curious to see. They could have a really easy road, or it could be a harder road. Because, again, they haven't flipped the switch on. Now, the good news is they're at that 5 seed, and they're getting Curry back. And that's going to be huge for them. And they could vault themselves up to 2 or 3 and be in a good spot. But let's just say this, Fred. Let's say the Warriors, they battle, right? They battle, and I'm looking at the seeding right now. Nuggets 1, Grizzlies 2, Kings 3, and the Grizzlies are grinding, right? They're ahead by 5 on the Suns. The Kings are in the 3 seed. They're 3 ahead of the Suns. And I'll tell you this, the Kings have a very easy schedule going the rest of the way. Am I correct, Spread? Very easy schedule.
Actually, it's not as easy as you think. We play a lot of those tough teams on the road with the rest disadvantage.
Oh, wait, I think it was easy at maybe they've gotten their easy games over with, right? So maybe that's probably one of the problems. But they're 3 up on the Suns. Let's say the Suns, and let's say the Kings fall a little bit, and the Suns, they vault up to 3. Let's say the Kings, they go to 4, and then you know who passes them at 5 to get to 4? The Warriors. Well, what if we have Suns-Warriors first round? Are you confident the Warriors dynasty is not exiting the first round? Anybody?
I love that matchup for the Warriors.
I mean, but my point.
If I'm the Suns, that's the one team I don't want to play in the first round.
Well, of course, no one wants to play the Warriors in the first round. I'm not saying I want to sign up for it, but my point being is this has happened in many years when these teams, they kind of like mess around, right? And like they're not grinding the whole regular season out. We don't see the clear 1, 2, 3 up top. And we have all these mixed bag where the matchups in the first round matter a lot. Like they just do. Like, for instance, people wonder why did the Hawks make the Western Conference Finals spread? They made it because they got the Knicks in the first round. And in the second round, they got the Sixers, and Embiid was dealing with some injuries, right? Like that helped them. The matchups matter a ton. And I'm just saying, the Warriors could run into a really bad set here. They could run into the Suns and lose, or the Suns also could. Either way, one team might not make the out of the first round. Like if I told you, Spread, the Suns or the Warriors were not out of the both in the second round, you would be surprised. Am I right?
No, I think you're right on the fact that there's a good chance they can match up against each other, or the Warriors don't make that push. They're in 8th place and they got to play the Nuggets team with the Nuggets having home court advantage, or maybe the Grizzlies finally get revenge, right?
Yeah. The Grizzlies, yeah. I mean, the Grizzlies could too. It's just, I mean, I would probably still bet the Warriors. I'd love to see what that line is. But my point being is I just think this is not like, again, sometimes we think like, oh, they are who they are. Like, for instance, like I'm a Packers fan. I think everyone just thinks Rodgers is who he is. He's not. I'm sorry. Like, I'm ready to move on. I'm happy for what he did for me, but things change. They just do. And you have to accept that and move on. It's okay. But anyways, we need to move on and talk DFS because we are 17 minutes in and I haven't said a word about DFS so far, Spread, but that's partially on me.
Hey, so we're a half hour better than the final countdown. I'll tell you that much. I mean, they talk about like pizza toppings on that show for a half hour before they break down the slate.
How do you talk pizza toppings with JSU? I'll say that first.
Well, JSU's not on there. He's frozen because the internet is just terrible wherever he's at. I mean, it's becoming comedy at this point. JSU's appearances on that show. He gets maybe 2 sentences out before it freezes up again.
All right, well, let's talk to DFS. Let's dive into Charlotte and the Magic, and this is clearly a pretty good spot for some players. Like basically, whenever Charlotte's on the slate, you instantly say, okay, we have to have some interest, right? Like in the team on the opposite side, because Charlotte's just not good. It's just simple. They're dealing with some injuries. Cole Anthony is a pretty cheap price tag. I don't know if you saw this today, Spread. Cole Anthony's 4.1K, which that's a pretty cheap price. I don't think you can completely ignore that. The issue we're going to have, and I know he's popping a bunch today, the issue we're going to have, I think, with him a little bit is like we are going to get some value to open up, I think. So I think you could make arguments against it, but I think he is a good play. You can't completely ignore him. He's going to be popping a lot as of right now. That could change later on if bigger value opens up. But as of right now, Spread, I mean, we have to like Cole Anthony. As crazy as it sounds, that's just how DFS works sometimes. 4.1K. He's in the conversation, and he's shown his ceiling. He showed against Milwaukee, playing 33 minutes and getting 43.75. He's also shown his floor the game before, right? 30 minutes against I'm looking at Fultz here. Cole Anthony, 27 minutes and 9.75 DK points. I mean, it's a mixed bag with him, but he's in the conversation. Wendell Carter Jr. is not someone that's popping up a ton, which is surprising because I like Wendell Carter Jr. in this spot a bit. I mean, if you look at Wendell Carter Jr., he has that ability to get you 40 DK points. And at 6'4", like finding those mid-tier guys that can get you like 40 to 50 DK points, there's a lot of value in that. Like Jeremy Sochan last night, who had 45 DK points for the Spurs. He was one of those guys that he feels like a must-have when he 8Xs like that. So that's a good point there with him. I think he's going to be a really good option that's not really being looked at all, so he'll be completely overlooked. The Hornets are missing LaMelo Ball, right? And that's because he always gets hurt, just like Russell Westbrook. He sucks. Everyone needs to remember that LaMelo Ball always gets hurt, not better than Ned Edwards. He's never available. Figured I'd throw that jab in since we're throwing jabs all day, Spread.
I heard an argument for the whole load management, and it had to do with the 3 Ball brothers. It says a lot of people are starting to factor in AAU to this. If these kids never sit down, you figure they play high school ball. They play the couple months, maybe they play states, but then they're playing 2 to 3 games a day in AAU the entire summer. Their bodies are broken before they get to the NBA. Like, that's actually a very good argument. You look at those 3, LaMelo and Lonzo to be exact, they were the most prolific AAU players for the longest time. Lonzo's knee, they can't figure out what's wrong with it. LaMelo's ankles can't stay upright.
I mean,
it's almost like they got too many miles on their body already.
Well, one thing I think that to bring up the point of that too is like when you're grinding out that same exact sport over and over too, like you're stressing the same parts of your body, right? Like if you like, let's say I'm a kid and I played basketball one season and I played baseball, and like I'm using different parts of my body, right? So like you're destroying your ankles, you know, and that's why LaMelo Ball always has these ankle issues, probably, right? I mean, he's grinding it out. I mean, it's wear and tear. It's definitely a little. I shouldn't say conspiracy theory, but it's a little deep in the galaxy that you're going there, but I don't think it's crazy.
I don't think it's deep at all. And I'm not a big coward guy, but this is the one thing I completely agree upon.
Think about the miles on the legs, man.
No, I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I don't.
When I was growing up, right, if you were the best athlete in your school, oh my, Miss Cat, you played football, right? And so you got in there, then you played basketball in the winter. And then you got a nice little rest time playing some baseball, right? Just throwing the ball around, you know, hitting. Now these guys need to specialize. And I think it's completely the reason that they all get it, because it's now 12 years of wear and tear rather than developing your body as an athletic whole. So
no, I don't think it's crazy, but it's definitely like, it's one of those things too, like we don't have a lot of data on, right? Because like, I'm trying to think when I was younger, like, we definitely played a lot of different sports. There were some people that were specializing in sports, but now it's really specialized. Like It wasn't as much when I was younger. It was kind of starting to be like, hey, you got to start specializing in one sport. Like you have to pick one, like which people tried to get me to pick, oh, do I want to do soccer or football? And I was like, I'm just going to do both. Like, you know what I mean? I played football in the fall. I played soccer in the spring, right? I just kind of just went that way. But so yeah, I don't think.
How big was your school where you played football and didn't get killed? I was like 6'1", 180, and I wasn't even close to getting on the football field. I was worried I was going to die.
I went to a pretty big school. It was like graduated like 750 in my class, but I'm not. Anyone can play football if they want, but like you just
right. I'm just saying, like I wasn't getting
like anyone can play.
No
and, like they don't mind having bodies. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I was like a warm body, but like like you can play. You know what I mean? I just didn't play my senior year because I had to pick between doing like media broadcasting stuff or like doing football, and I didn't like my coach. That's a whole long story. We don't have to get into that, but I don't know. I mean, I did get killed by Theo Riddick, right? He did murder me on a play, but I did get him back with the interception spread. That's always my my good story I got for you. But.
Yeah, I mean, better than any of my stories. That's for sure. I did see Ray Caruth play live. Kids, look him up. He's got a storied NFL career. Let's move on. The Portland Trailblazers.
Real quick. I know I do need to mention DFS wise real quick.
Okay.
Terry Rozier 7.7K. He's definitely a really good play, but the problem is when you are 7-7, like this is why like Miles Turner, I kind of like I liked him yesterday, but I was a little worried. Is like even though there's value there when you're 7-4, like you still have to really exceed your price tag, right? Like, for instance, I know this goes back to the big T take of like Brandon Ingram has no upside. Like, I like Brandon Ingram a lot, and we'll talk about him later on. But like, you have to have big games when you cost 7.7K. You know what I mean? Like, so that's one thing to bring up. The good thing is the matchup is easy. That's one reason I didn't love Terry Rozier the other day, because I didn't love his matchup against the Phoenix that much. So I ended up passing on him a bit. And then Kelly Oubre, we should talk about him in the mid tier. He's another guy in this range that's kind of intriguing at 6'6", just because of what the upside he has. He put up 41.75 against Phoenix last game out. I think that was a revenge game, right? He played for Phoenix, I think, for a hot second.
Who?
Kelly Oubre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
where he made his name. Actually, I think his best basketball of his career was played in Phoenix.
Yeah, and he put up 24 shot attempts in 38 minutes. Like, don't sleep on, like, these are the guys in the mid-tier, like I said, that have that 40-point, like, ceiling or 50-point ceiling. Like, don't sleep on Kelly Oubre today. Pretty good play, and I don't love the small forward position typically, so definitely think it's a pretty good spot to get some exposure to him.
All right, let's move on. The Portland Trailblazers.
No love for Paolo here, Travis.
Oh yeah, I mean, I made fun of Paolo on the playback.
Oh, wasn't that fun? And he was just he closed the game with ice in his veins.
It just looking at it, it's PJ Washington's out. His 2 games against the Hornets was 21-12-7, 22-10-5.
So here's my problem with Paolo. Nothing against him. This is what he reminds me of. And these are the type of plays that I definitely have trouble rostering versus other people. I look at Paolo and I see, yes, he has the ability to get 40 or 50, but he has so many performances that can sink you, right? Like he's got those, like he just has the ability to destroy your lineup. And on a slate with a lot of really good value, is that something I really want to embrace? Probably not. But if he's going to be like 5% or lower, I don't think it's bad for like large field tournaments. But for like my single entry 3-match stuff, I'm going to personally have a hard time rostering. Maybe you have the stomach tolerance to pull it off. I just don't. I think there's other ways I can get different. It's a 10-game slate. If it was like a 4-game slate, I'd probably consider it more. If you told me he was like a single-digit play, yeah, I kind of have some interest in it. I just think the slate context leads me to not go there with Paolo.
All right. Anything more? I'm sorry. I should have asked you that before that.
No,
Tyler,
we're good. I know
are we ready to move on?
Yeah, sorry. We've
Atlanta
gone on
Hawks.
tangents, right? But,
No, this is what I'm here for. I love the Friday show. I love having you on, Travis.
I love the tangents too. Hopefully the people enjoy it in chat. And again, hit the like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you're new here too, use the code SPREAD15, 15% off of your first payment. Use Tyler15 or Mangone15 as well. And our guy Uncle T is in the chat, which when Uncle T is in the building, that always gets me excited.
Yeah, and if you do want the winners without all the tangents, then you go ahead, you sign up for runpuresports.com, you go straight to the playbook. You know, it'll be a 1-minute process for you to just grab those RPB tags, make the bets, and you won't have to listen to us. But you're here now, so I'm assuming that you love the tangents, you love the pontification as we go through this NBA season. Portland Trailblazers plus 7.5, Tyler. They're in Atlanta taking on the Hawks. Pretty high total here, 241.5. My projections like the Hawks when we're doing the RPB tags later today. What are you going to tell me about my projections telling us to take the Atlanta Hawks at home with new coach Quinn Snyder guiding the ship and getting everybody happy with the play of Trae Young?
Yeah, I'm taking the Hawks here. I mean, just watching the Blazers play, like it's fun watching Dame score all these points. But you just watch him play, it's him against 5 guys. Like, there's other guys running around with him, but none of those guys are really able to win games for them. He's kind of fighting.
Some Cam Reddish slander already, huh?
He's not winning a game. Like, he can put up some points, but, like, he's not going to be the determining fact. Like, when Dame goes to the bench, like, you're not like, oh, Cam Reddish just scored 15 straight, kept us in the game.
Did you see the playback where Tidal said Matisse Thybulle's the best defender in the NBA? I can't even say.
I mean,
Title's
Tybal takes. He loves him, so.
Title absolutely loves Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah, so I take that with a grain of salt. But back to this game, I mean, it's just the Hawks are past for me. I think they win. I don't mind the Reddish props, him playing the team that originally drafted him and didn't do much with him, so he could have himself a decent game. But for the win, I don't think he affects that much. I think the Hawks pick up this win.
Travis, how much did you boost projections for Cam Reddish revenge?
Not enough, because I'm not huge on Cam Reddish. But the one thing I'll say is this role is going to be nice with no Simons, right? But you have Dame Lillard who's going to soak up all that usage. That's going to be one of the problems that you have there. I think overall this is a game that we're going to want to have some interest in. But spread, it's not a full backload slate, but it's definitely a slate to like some of these like backloaded players, right? I mean, there's definitely some good ones that we'll get to where you want to think about how you play some early plays. And you might be sitting there with a Cam Reddish value in your lineup and feel like an absolute dunce. So just think a little bit about that. This is a game, though. We like to target Atlanta. I mean, Portland, Atlanta screams zero defense being played the entire time. I mean, that's like watching Kurt play basketball. I mean, it'll just be easy buckets left and right.
Some Kurt slander. Wasn't expecting that after he gave out what the chat deemed the worst advice in NBA rundown history yesterday.
What was his advice? Now I'm curious.
Because how we were joking around. Everyone's trying to get in shape before the tournament, and Holden, of course, disregards this because Holden hates exercise. But it was, why would you want to get in shape for a bunch of guys? And I'm like, we're playing sports against each other. Of course we want to get in shape. So Kurt, after his week-long Tinder bender where he went on a different first date every night for 7 days, has now gone old school like a 70s boxer. He's embraced celibacy to really pack on the pounds and the muscle. So his advice was, if you want to put more muscle on your body, you need to go celibate.
Okay, well, that's an interesting take by Kurt there. We'll keep this thing moving along. So, yeah, Cam Reddish at 4-3. Again, it's in the conversation, but I don't think I'm going to get there. You can make the case for, like, hey, some of his big games, one of them was against Sacramento, right? I don't know who – I'm assuming Dame was in that game. I'm sure he was. But it probably was with no Simons. Like, these guys are fine, but I don't think they're values to prioritize. I'll at least say that. They're not values that I'm jamming onto my teams. A guy that I really like is Damian Lillard as a stud today. I mean, how do you not like him in this spot, right? This seems like a pretty good role for him. No Anthony Simons. Like, dude should absolutely crush in this matchup against the Hawks. They do have Quinn Snyder, though. He is there as the coach. I actually really like that signing for them. I think he's a good coach. I've always kind of liked him as a coach. I think he unlocked the ceiling of the Utah Jazz. One thing he was also great at doing for that Utah Jazz team is he helped them with ball movement. And you know what? This Hawks team could learn how to be unselfish, right? They got a lot of dudes that are selfish, it feels like. A lot of dudes that can put up a lot of stats but need to start sharing the ball a little bit better. Curious to see how that works out. I want to see what Trae Young's price tag is because Trae Young is he's still only 9.5. He did participate in shoot around, so I would expect him to play. You can make the case that Trae Young or DeJounte Murray have upside at the price. Like they could just have massive 60-point games. Like that's in their bag at low ownership, but not something I'm trying to jam in there. I'm also curious, Brett, do you think Clint Capella gets unlocked finally? Like I think you saw the best of Rudy Gobert with Quinn Snyder, right? Do you think we start to see that with Clint Capella within this offense a little bit? Where at 5'6", against a Portland team that struggles a ton against bigs, I think Clint Capella has a 40-point ceiling in his bag here, or even 50. You could see him unlocking here for that big 2020 game. So I wouldn't ignore him. He'd be a decent value. And then I think on the Portland side, like I said, those values are all great and all, and you can make a case for him, but I think it's really Damian Lillard or bust mainly for me on the Portland side. But what do you think of some of the Hawks takes with Quinn Snyder that announced, right?
So I hadn't thought about that Capella thing, but the idea that you're bringing up here, I'd have to agree, right? I mean, he unlocked Gobert as a roller, obviously, and I'm sure you're going to get a chance to do this later, right? Because that's 1B on your list after Westbrook slander is Gobert slander.
Yeah, we're not done slandering people yet. This is a good day to do it. So
I would agree. Should be some upside with Capella. What do you think there, Tyler? Is Quinn Snyder and his 80s villain look the guy to unlock Clint Capella once again? Or do you think that maybe he's just lost too much athleticism since his time with the Rockets?
No, I think he could. I mean, he's seen minutes last game, like our guy Bobby said in the chat. He's seen 35 minutes last game. And just like he said, with the coaching change, we seen Quinn Snyder coach Rudy Gobert. He left him out there a ton. He could easily leave Capella out there for 35-plus minutes. And just looking at some of his recent matchups with the Blazers, he played 29 and 28 minutes in his last two. He had 8 and 16 in one game and 10 and 15 in the other. So I don't mind taking his rebounds prop here. He could swallow up the board. You could see him swallow up all the boards in the first quarter. Like every ball that comes off the rim, he's grabbing that rebound. And he walks out of the first quarter with 8 rebounds, and you need 2 to catch that prop.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a good call. Spread, here's an off the board conversation. I know you like these. If Titletown's dad was coked out, it would be Quinn Snyder, right?
I saw you say that, and he didn't understand. He thought that you looked like his physical son.
No, I just meant if Title had a dad, right? And his dad, and I think DC brought the point. If his dad was coked out, it would be Quinn Snyder, right? I mean, I could see some resemblance there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And Title does play he grew up.
I think our guy Bobby won himself free lunch yesterday too with Bones Highland getting those first quarter. Was it first quarter or second quarter minutes? I was listening to the game at work and I heard it come across. He was shooting threes in the second quarter.
So I want to go back and look because part of it this was my issue with that bet that they made. Bones Highland, he got in there, but he still was cheeks, man. He still.
I think he got 3 fouls in 4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, he was just.
Yeah, he was like a kid in the camp. He was just excited to be out there. He's just grabbing everything.
I hate Bones. I'm not, but we're gonna talk about him later. And I know Bobby won. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't win, but I was in the camp at Big T. I was I wouldn't make that bet. I have to have some. My idea was Bones has to he can get he has to actually have real rotation minutes, and he played 12. He wasn't winning anyone anything. He was terrible.
All right, I kind of lost track. So we were on the Hawks and the Blazers. Are we done with that game?
We've gone through 2 games and we're at the 35-minute mark, so we're doing good. We're crushing it. 8 games to go. If you just showed up, you haven't missed much so far.
We
All right,
we take it off track. We come back to the host. He's like, I don't know where we left off.
And we're not done. We got Rudy Gobert to make fun of. I mean, we got tons of games to make fun of players for. So.
All right, let's talk about the NBA hipsters' disappointment. That's the Brooklyn Nets, right? We all thought, oh, this team's going to be cool. Oh, they go 10 deep. Oh, they're going to be able to defend. Well, they've lost, 4 games in a row, 7 of their last 8, and they're plus 11 against the Celtics tonight. Tyler, we've talked about these bigger spreads before. I don't know what to make of this game. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, I think the Celtics will for sure win it. I don't hate doing the performance doubles here. My worry here about laying the 11, I know I just laid 4.5 with the Celtics in their last game, and they bit me because the Cavs were shooting all those threes at the end. But 11,
and they couldn't foul with 11 seconds to go.
Yeah, they
you got to be kidding me.
So laying 11 here in a matchup where those guys like Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, they can get out there and guard Tatum and those guys. It's just, can they find their own buckets? I think 11 might be a few too many here, so small lean to the Nets, but I think the Celtics do pick up the win.
All right. Yeah, Nets plus 11 looks tasty if you're looking at projections, but you've been watching this team, Travis. Not what we had hoped for from the Brooklyn Nets. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Brooklyn Nets have definitely not been as exciting. I shouldn't say as exciting, but I definitely think they should have won a little bit more games than they have. But DFS-wise, we've seen Mikal Bridges show a ceiling at times, so I'm not ignoring him at 7'6". My issue is only shooting guard eligible now, right? He does not have the small forward eligibility, which makes it a little tougher to roster. He can only be plugged into the shooting guard, the guard, and the utility spot, right? And, of course, utility, you never know. You can slide in so many other options. Just not being able to have that forward eligibility could hurt him a little bit here. But I think he's in the conversation at 7.6K. Cam Johnson is showing an upside. I know I got made fun of last show talking with DC. He said, Cam Johnson doesn't have a ceiling. Well, then he went out and put up 40.5. So, yes, he does have a ceiling at 5'5". Sorry to say it, DC. I'll say it again. When he's 5'5", he falls into that bucket. And I don't think we mention this enough sometimes. Guys that are in the 5 and 6K range that have the ability to get you 40 to 50 DK points. Because, the studs, they typically crank out, between 40 and 60 DK points for you. But then when you can have these mid-tier guys that match it as well, that is humongous for your lineup. And, yes, he has a downside, too. He can certainly go out there and just put up 20 and you feel like an idiot. But the ceiling's there for Cam Johnson. He's not out of play today. The problem is the matchup, right? Boston's not the easiest spot. It's not the spot that you're like, yeah, I see a big game for someone like Cam Johnson at 5'5". But I think the ability to get there is there for him. Let's see. Boston side. Let's talk about them a little bit. They're a little bit healthier. Jaylen Brown is back. Malcolm Brogdon is expected to play. Feels like it's a little too crowded. I know Derek White has been playing some amazing basketball, but once they've gotten healthier, it's kind of hurt him a bit. So we've talked about some players in a lot of these game spread. I think this is the first game that I'm like, hey, maybe this is like a full fade. You could make an argument for a Cam Johnson or Mikal Bridges, but that's really it for me for this one.
All right. Let's move on quickly. That was pretty good. If we keep this up, we might be finished before the final countdown. The New York Knicks are -3.
We better spread because I'm on the hardwood show. So
I know you might just be going for 5 hours straight, and we'll throw you on playback. We're gonna get 12 straight hours of Travis today.
I don't know if I can do playback today.
I hope you're comfy.
Who's on the playback tonight? Do you know?
It's a good question. I don't know if
I might jump on. I had fun on there last night, so I love the playback. It's so much better than.
I don't know if we have playback today, so yeah, we'll see. Maybe also, I don't know. My voice is all messed up, so I'll have to see. I know I'm doing good now, but I don't know how I'll feel after the next show. I'll tell you that.
Well, we appreciate that you're getting the best effort here. We expected the best effort from the New York Knicks, who are -3. Tyler, your Knicks are now laying points in Miami, one of the toughest places to play. They're coming in on a 7-game win streak, but they're laying points in Miami. Are they going to be celebrating this win streak last night? I didn't have eyes in Miami. I don't have connections. Were they out at the club? Are they going to be able to cover this spread against Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat? Your thoughts, Tyler?
I do, because I think they'll cover it because it looks like Jimmy's going to be out. He's questionable. They played last night. They were in a back-to-back. I think it's their third game in 4 days also for Miami. And the Knicks team's just been rolling. Miami doesn't cover guards well. Brunson's been playing out of his mind. Bam's going to have two bigs he has to match up with. He's probably on Robinson, leaving Randall to just feast. So I think it's a bit short here on the spread. I'm taking the Knicks -3. I think they win this game by double digits.
By double digits?
Yes.
Okay, I love it. Tyler's bringing the hot takes. Can you match that, Travis?
Sorry, I was responding to Jabroni in the chat. I was going to say the playback's free. So if anyone's wondering, like, as long as you have a subscription to like a TV service or anything like that, it's free. Also, like, I mean, if you just wanted to listen to us and not have the TV service, you can do that too. You can listen.
Yeah, because I'm on Dish, so I couldn't. But I mean, I'm just watching the games, and then I can listen to you guys the audio.
Yeah. But what were you saying? What was the question spread?
We're talking about the Knicks, the Heat. The Knicks are -3. Tyler thinks they're going to blow them out. What do you think?
Knicks and the Heat. He thinks the Knicks are going to blow out the Heat, or the Heat are going to blow out the Knicks.
Nah, we're on the Knicks.
The Knicks are going to blow out the Heat.
Oh, you think the Knicks are going to blow out the Heat? I'm just trying to think because I'm not a huge Heat backer this year.
They just played yesterday. Butler's questionable.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously going to be massive. So you could bet the Knicks now and like get ahead of the number, or just like if Butler does play, you're not like worried about the number as much. If I had to pick right now, I wouldn't mind getting out ahead and just betting the Knicks now and hoping Butler's out. Just because when Butler's on the report, you kind of feel like he should sit. But Butler did sit that last game, right? Is he questionable because of like the last time sitting? Do you think that's part of the issue, Tyler?
No, I mean, I think he's questionable because they played last night. They played Philly last night. He ran
They
around.
played Philly 2 nights ago.
Oh yeah, they played Philly 2 nights ago. I'm thinking they were Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's just my. I mean, it's right knee soreness. That's been something he's dealt with a lot.
I'm just wondering if he's Q because he was out the game before. You get what I'm saying? Like you don't go from out to just especially the Heat injury report. You don't go from out to like back in right away. Typically.
Yeah.
Spread. Your cat wants so much attention.
I'll be right back, dude. Break this game down, Travis.
So
let's go, Pinko.
Let me talk about DFS lines. Knicks and Heat. Butler news is obviously huge, right? Because if Butler's out, we're going to obviously have to consider some of these options. 7.3K Tyler Hero, got to be in play. But the problem is I don't think he's like a must or anything like that. Kevin Love, when he's been starting, has been pretty good. But is he 5.3K good? I think he's at a spot where I'm not dying to get to. Bam Adebayo at 8K, especially with Mitch Robinson back. I just don't think that's a good use of my salary, right? That's the one issue I'm having. I don't see myself using my salary in that way. The Knicks side, the one issue I have with them DFS-wise is 8.6K on Brunson is a hefty tag, but he has shown a ceiling. My only worry is, and Tyler, I guess you could kind of give me your take on this. And the same with Julius Randle, right? 9.7 is a good tag for the upside. The problem is the pace the Heat play at. I don't know if you're going to get enough possessions to really get me excited to roster. If you told me these guys were playing the Kings, yeah, I'd be in. I worry about the possessions from that. I think Brunson and Randall are almost in play on any slate as contrarian low-owned studs at the top. My just issue is I want to do it in the correct games. I want to do it against Charlotte. I want to do it against the Kings, the Pacers. The Heat just doesn't feel like the game to do that. Would you agree?
I agree. But the more and more you look at the spot, it's like Brunson's probably being guarded by Gabe Vincent, Hero, and like Strauss. Randall's going to match up with Kevin Love. It's like they could walk up and down the floor, and would it surprise you if those matchups, those guys put up 40, 50 DK points?
My only issue is it's a 10-game slate, and I just don't like –
There's definitely better options. I agree with you there, but it wouldn't surprise me if at the end of the night you messaged me. It was like, hey, one of those two guys ended up in the optimal lineup.
I mean, any slate, those two guys can get you 50 DK points. Like, I don't disagree with. If someone said MME wise they had exposure to him, I wouldn't tell them they're an idiot, right? So that's how I'd handle it. Now, the Butler news is going to be big, and I'll break that down on the next show. They'll be broken down on everything. It's hard to know what to do without it, but I'll just say this: if Butler happens to be out, like, I'm not dying to get to the expensive guys. I can make a case for like the Gabe Vincent and some of these other cheap options, like a Max Struss would have to grab a pile of minutes at 4 or 5, but I wouldn't be racing to play these expensive options, as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah, the only upside you have, right, is the Tibbs rotation.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I love DFS-wise about the Knicks. And that's why Brunson and Randall are in play every slate. They're studs that you're never worried about. The Paul George gets 28 minutes or Kawhi gets you're just not worried about that, you know?
Yeah. All right. Utah Jazz. We're good with this game, right? Utah Jazz plus 1.5. Oklahoma City Thunder 231.5. All right, Tyler. I checked earlier. What is our status here on this game for the injuries, and what do you expect here? No Shea still.
The biggest one that still matters is SGA still out, so
yeah.
Jazz are pass on my side. We just watched that OKC team not be able to put it together and beat a Lakers team, missing both their stars and D'Angelo Russell. I got to take the Jazz here.
Excellent job not calling D'Angelo Russell a star. An important distinction there. Travis, your thoughts here on the Jazz and the Thunder?
So this is tough because, I've been in the camp of, at least recently, OKC is not safe. I'm not saying you can't play guys. There are good options on this game, but, you really have to think about how you play them, right? You really got to think, playing, trying to hit the parlay, getting 2 Thunder, right? I don't know if that's correct, right? That's just the one thing I worry about. Josh Giddey has an amazing matchup. The ceiling is there at 7-9. It's a good spot, but the downside is there too. He's one of those guys I struggle with because he could randomly get 19 minutes like he got against Sacramento, right? He could get the 24 against Phoenix. Trust me, I've dealt with these games. They're not fun. So I'm more cautious with Josh Giddey because of the price tag. I prefer more Thunder options that are cheaper, like a Lou Dort at 5.5. I don't hate him. At least he gets pretty safe minutes, except that Sacramento game. Again, that game was weird, but I actually looked it up. Lou Dort was minus 29 and Josh Giddey was minus 32. At that point, they probably don't play the fourth quarter. You know what I mean? They got absolutely destroyed. So I'm okay with Giddey. I should talk about Jalen Williams, the 6.8K one.
He's the only player I would consider from this. I mean, maybe I'm being short-sighted, but he's the only one I'm considering.
I don't totally disagree. The problem is the matchup's great, right? It's Utah. Well, what's the total on this? Do you have the over on your what is your playbook?
231.5 and
but I bet it likes the over.
Hold on, I accidentally clicked off it. Continue your breakdown and I'll jump in.
Yeah. Look that up, and Isaiah Joe, if he starts again at 4 or 5, I think he's in the conversation. But again, I like these Thunder options. We can talk about Jalen Williams on an island. We can talk about Lou Dort on an island, Isaiah Joe, Josh Giddey. I do like the idea of maxing one of these guys. I think it's something when I run my teams later on and I look at my lineups, if I see a lot of OKC or enough OKC where I think there could be some overlap, I'm going to make sure I do max on one OKC. I think they're in the conversation. I don't think they're bad plays, but I think you need to think about how you play them for sure. When it comes to the Utah side, though, it's hard to ignore it because they're missing Jordan Clarkson. They're missing Colin Sexton. That's a lot of usage, right? You get Walker Kessler, who's 6'9", which is an expensive tag, but we know what his ceiling can be. One of those guys that has that 40-point upside in his bag, right, to 50. Kelly Olynyk, 5.9K. I think he has that ceiling, but his issue is I think he has the downside in minutes, right? Because I think they can go routes where they don't play him as much, and that can hurt you a ton. I think Lauri Markkanen at 9.6, he's in the conversation, but is that how I want to use my salary? That's one of the things I'm going to think about. I don't know if I want to use it that much on Lauri. One of my concerns, I think I'd rather look at guys like Talon Horton-Tucker, Chris Dunn, Walker Kessler, more of these mid-tier guys. And Chris Dunn the other day got you 26 minutes, and he ended up getting you to 20.25. Now, at 4.3, that's not something you're in love with, but that was after having a really tough performance, only getting 5 DA points in the first half. I still think there's a lot for him to be able to do and improve on, so I still think he's in play. If I had to rank him, I'd probably go Chris Dunn number 1. I'd probably go maybe, because of the positionality, I'd probably go Talon Horton-Tucker number 2. And then it'd probably be Walker Kessler 3, and then it'd be Lauri Markkanen 4, and Kelly Olynyk number 5. That's how I'd rank out the Jazz. I think they're in the conversation, but again, we have a lot of really good value later on that we'll kind of get to. I'm trying to pull up my sheet right now just to see, because there's going to be some value plays that we're going to talk about that you're just going to be jamming in. And when you kind of jam in those values, well, you don't need as much value, right? So then you kind of can pick and choose the guys that you want to go to on the slate. For instance, Willie Hernan Gomez. He's going to be a guy that we're going to be jamming on a bunch of teams at 4.3K because he's likely going to be the starter against the Warriors. We just saw what Mason Plumlee did last night. Once you plug him in and once you plug in another value, like it just starts to get to that point where it's hard to get the value plays on your teams.
All right. I did look it up. I have a 6-point edge to the over there, and it's already at 231, Travis. So you are correct. I am projecting a lot of points there between the Jazz and the Thunder. THT, a tough roster. That feels like some gambling right there, right?
It's not a game to ignore, but it's also not a game like you feel great loading the boat on. Like I could see it go either way. I think we have to talk about some plays in this game, but you also can mention like a lot of their price tags are elevated. Like Jalen Williams is 6'8" now spread. Like
I know it sucks on how you only get like a week to really ride these little guys.
Now on the flip side, Fred, the ownership's going to be down because of it, and you can keep riding it out. I don't think it's bad.
I just don't think he has that huge ceiling, right? Like what's a good night from him? 23-7, right? Yeah. I mean, he's not going for 40. He's not giving you a triple-double.
Well, he got 40 the past 2 games, to be fair, but yeah.
40 DK points. I'm saying he's not going for 40 raw points, is my point.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
Like, they're not the same position, but like him or Walker Kessler. Like, they're the same price, though. But
same deal. What's your ceiling with Walker Kessler? 45 DK points?
Yeah,
he's never going to break a slate for you.
It ain't going to break a slate, so it's not going to hurt you, but I would sign up for it, right? If you told me I could sign up for it right now, yeah, I'd go sign up for it. But, yeah, there's definitely good plays in this game, but they are starting to get elevated. The one guy who hasn't been elevated, though, is clearly Chris Dunn. That's the guy who hasn't been elevated from this game yet. Lou Dort, his price could go up more. Like, that's another one where there's still some meat on the bone for sure. But some of these prices have definitely increased.
Well, the NBA needs to thank gambling because I can't believe we talked that much about the Jazz versus the Thunder.
It's just because these guys are injured and they don't.
No, I know. It's because we're gambling it, and when it comes to DFS, you can't just scratch games off. Even on a 10-game slate, you can't scratch games off, especially like you said, with an injury report that's littered with.
But again, they're not the premier values. Like they're coming up soon. The premier values that we're going to talk about.
All right. Yeah, but a way to get different here too. The Phoenix Suns -3.5. They're in Chicago taking on the Bulls. The total's 222.5. Tyler, Kevin Durant's second game. We talked about him with Chris on Wednesday, and he came out and he barely went over that point prop total, but he was 10 of 15 from the floor. Very efficient outing. I would expect to see the same thing tonight. I like the over on his points again, but I don't know if he breaks the slate because I don't think he gets over 30 minutes. Chicago Bulls, they're just such a weird team. I don't like talking about them. I don't like watching them. But of course, this is a gambling show and we can't ignore them. Talk to me about the Suns laying 3.5 in Chicago, Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, a number seems very short. I know the Bulls have played better against good teams this year. Their stats over the last 10 make them look very good. But this team just isn't good. So,
yeah, basically.
Like, I'm going to hold my nose and possibly step on that trap of Phoenix -3 because I just think in the end, there's a lot more pathways that they get this win by about 5 or even blow them out to where a lot other than Chicago being able to come back and keep this game close or even win it outright. Like, I just think as you see Kevin Durant get more integrated into this Phoenix system, they're just going to win more and more games and they're going to look better and better. I don't like the matchup either here against Chicago. Like, I get it. You could put guys like Caruso on Booker, but he's like 6'3". Booker's a taller guy. He's going to shoot right up over him. So I'm taking Phoenix here. I think that number is a little bit too short. I know it opened at 6. It's down to 3. I'm still on the Suns.
Why do you think the line moved, Tyler?
Probably just the fact that the Bulls are good against these good teams this year.
Which is weird because last year was the exact opposite, right? We bet them against teams that were under 500 and against any team that had playoff potential.
Yeah, because there's nothing on the injury report. Kevin Durant in,
Yeah.
Ross questionable, Shamet injured. That's it.
Interesting spot here for the Suns, Travis, of course, with Durant getting those limited minutes. But Devin Booker put up 51 the last time the Bulls played the Suns. So like Tyler talked about, they don't have an answer for him. What are your thoughts here, Travis?
Yeah, I don't think this is not a game I'm dying to get to, right? We're on the Suns
We're on the Suns and the Bulls, and it's a fairly clean injury report.
Yeah.
And we have the limited minutes for the spend up in Durant and also the usageness.
Yeah.
I don't think Booker's going for 51 again is my point.
The problem is, like, the prices are up with, like, KD back there, right? And also, like, the Bulls, like, one, the matchup's not great. I know Patrick Beverley's been playing some pretty good basketball at 3-7, but I don't think this is the matchup I want him. And maybe him and Chris Paul will go back and forth a bit. That could be funny to watch. But, like, the Bulls are just – I struggle with Levine, DeRozan, and Vucevic all at their prices because, like, do I think they have the ability to have a big game? Yes, of course. But – like I talked about, the downside is there, like, and it's there every single slate. And it's like one of them has a good game and like the other two does. It's just, there's too much risk to them where I just am full fading them right now, especially on a 10-game slate.
Tyler, I hope you're right because if the Bulls get the upset here, JC Zargo is going to be, it's going to be terrible on Monday's show. So it's going to be Pat Bev pom-poms all the way. The Memphis Grizzlies, best game of the night in my mind. But they're +5. They're taking on your favorite player, Tyler, your MVP, Nikola Jokic, and the Denver Nuggets. You get a chance to fade them with Young Thug. I mean, Ja Morant. What do you expect there? No 17-year-olds on the Nuggets, so I think they'll be safe from any fights.
Yeah, I mean, the Memphis Grizzlies just beat up on this Nuggets team, last week or the week before that in the game that happened in Memphis.
Yeah.
Now they're going to play in Denver. I think we got to take the Nuggets here. I think they just come back. Now they're at home, and they beat up on Memphis. Jokic is probably going to put up another triple-double, so that player performance double him to triple-double and win, I don't mind. And with the spread being a little shorter, using that double-double and win as a parlay piece, I don't hate. But I'm not laying that -170 on it straight.
All right. What are your thoughts here on this game between the Nuggets and the Grizzlies, Travis?
Yeah, this is another game DFS-wise I'm not dying to get to. C-spread, we're going to catch up pretty quick. I know we only have 2 minutes to get to the actual time, but we'll find a way. But this is
I don't think there's a 12 o'clock show either, so we're good.
Yeah, I know we're fine. But Jokic, always in play as a spend, but, like, again, I'm not dying to get there. It's not like I'm like, I need to jam him in. John Moran at 10-3 feels cheap for the upside he has, but, again, not someone I'm jamming onto my teams. This is just a game where guys are a little bit healthier, right? They got Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon's back, Michael Porter Jr. is probable. Like, I don't know. I'm not dying to get the people in this game spread. I think it's not that it's a cross off. It's like, hey, the studs make sense, but that's just it.
Yeah, too bad Shannon Sharp, former Denver Bronco, will not be in the crowd tonight. But let's move on. Let's talk about my favorite team. But Tyler, right? I'm the Kings fan. I love looking out the window and seeing the beam. But are we ready to be laying 8.5? Like, I understand the Clippers are missing people.
There's no way spread. You can't look out the window and see the beam, can you?
I mean, yeah, I'm kind of exaggerating there, but I can see when I'm driving on the freeway.
I was hoping I was wrong. I was hoping spread could.
I'll look again. You know, the weather's been better. I might be able to now.
I want spread to be able to look out the window after a game, open up the blinds, and just be like, "There's the beam. We won." Like,
I mean, I see it on the freeway if I'm out that night because Sacramento's rather
By the way,
small.
spread. I want to before you went to Tyler, whatever you asked him. I want to remind you that I told you last year that trade wasn't as bad as you think. I said trading Halliburton doesn't seem great, but at least De'Aaron Fox can now be the man because it was like having 2 quarterbacks, right? It's like when you got 2 quarterbacks, you got 0 quarterbacks.
I'll take my L because you know what? It's just like when you've seen every single move a team's done fail for 16 years, you just tend to lose faith in them, right?
Again, I agree. You didn't really want to give – you had to make a decision. You had to pick, is our quarterback Halliburton or is it Fox? It felt like in order to like move forward, Fox couldn't really like be with another guard and like make it work out. We've kind of seen him struggle in those scenarios. So you either move on from Fox and you let Halliburton develop, or you let Fox be the guy and figure it out. And I mean, it's one of those trades. It feels like it's been a win-win for both sides, and that's always a good thing.
I'd have to agree because most teams would be like, oh, wow, like even if we lose in the first round, people would be disappointed. We're going to be ecstatic here, even with the first round loss. So I agree with you there on the win-win. Tyler, talk to me about this game, though. We talked about the Clippers at the beginning of the show. We got our mandatory Russ Lander again, but obviously we have another opportunity here. But look at this injury report. So Kawhi's not going to play because he doesn't play back-to-backs. Paul George questionable. Marcus Morris questionable. Norman Powell's doubtful, and I don't think he's going to play. He had a sling on last night. Zubac questionable. Now, De'Aaron Fox is questionable. He did miss the last game against the Thunder, and Rashawn Holmes, who barely gets any run, is questionable as well. Tyler, I'm hesitant. As much as I love the Kings, I'm hesitant to lay this 8.5. What do you think, man?
Yeah, even with all those guys out, it is kind of you just want to go click that button because all the guys out there, you look, it's like 8's a lot. The Kings don't play any defense. They're probably going to win the game, but I could see it being by about 4 or 5. So small lean to the Clippers side. I don't mind taking a spot on Sabonis' rebounds and just maxing them out here as high as you can get them. I mean, we've seen rebounders just kill this team. Zubac might be out. He'll feast on Plumlee. So like that. And I'm going to keep betting these Russell Westbrook double-doubles and triple-doubles. He might be the only guy out on the floor tonight for the Clippers. Probably falls into a double-double. The triple-double might be a little longer of a shot because it's a bonus on the boards, but at the odds we're getting it at, I'm just going to keep playing it every night until he gets it.
I mean, Travis, we might have to take back these words. Is Russell Westbrook a good play now tonight? Let's just assume Paul George is out for the sake of this conversation.
Yeah, so spread, I mention this all the time. People will be like, oh, I'm not playing this guy. He sucks. I've played a lot of people who suck in their time. I have. And you know what? Usage is everything. And a guy who hogs the ball is Russell Westbrook, even at the detriment of the entire team. Matchup's great against the Kings. I mean,
look how you had to sneak that body shot in there.
But it's just the truth. Like, I hate when people in the Discord chat are like, oh, I can't play him. He sucks. Well, like, everyone has a price. Everyone has a matchup, right? Like, if I told you today you could roster, Snyder at $1 and he helped get you all the studs in your lineup and he's playing the Kings, I don't know. You think about it, right? You'd at least think about it. I'm not saying
It's a great segment. You've got Snyder slander and Russ slander in the last minute.
Yeah,
we need to clip this and get this on Twitter.
Yeah. So overall, I think it's a good spot for Russell Westbrook. He's gonna chuck the ball up a ton, especially if Paul George sits. So at 7-1, he's in the conversation. But again, at 7-1, you do have to pay off your tag, right? You just can't sit there and sleepwalk. So yeah, I think he's in the conversation. Who else could we like though, right? If you had no Paul George there, let's say he's got to wake up and figure out how he's feeling. We have no Kawhi already. That's obviously encouraging. Zubac is currently questionable. I mean, the Plum Dog could be a really interesting play at 5K. I think he's in the conversation. I think some of these other values could open up. Norman Powell, what do we have him at, Spread? Is he in?
I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to play. He had a sling in the post-game interviews last night.
Okay, well.
His arm was in a sling.
If he did play, I would like him at 5-1. If he doesn't, that opens the door for Eric Gordon, who could start tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if Eric Gordon sat too, right? Just because back-to-back. I wouldn't be shocked if that came out of nowhere.
Seems like they need him, though. What are they saving him for?
No, agreed. But, again, I just wouldn't be shocked. Terrence Mann, 4K. That could be someone that really emerges as an awesome value later on. And then also, what about Bones Highland? Is Bones?
I knew we were going to get there.
Is Bones getting unleashed tonight at 3K? It's worth calling out. We might not have enough of this information by the time we get to the later slate, and we might have to make some decisions. And maybe leaving some roster spots open to try and figure that out is not the worst idea. So overall, Clippers, Westbrook is in play along with these values, but we need to know who's in and out. That's something we kind of have to wait on a little bit. It's hard to really know, but on the Kings side, they're clearly going to struggle defensively. I'm not expecting the triple overtime game, but we saw a lot of points scored that last one. And the game could blow out, too. I could see the Clippers getting absolutely destroyed and dominated, where the Kings don't even really play the third. But who would get there, right? Would some of these guys be able to get there? De'Aaron Fox is questionable. If De'Aaron Fox misses, Davion Mitchell is naturally going to pop up as a value. I faded him last time. I might fade him again. I just think he's a little bit of a sketchy play. I want to know what his ownership is going to be. I don't totally buy that with him. Malik Monk, he comes off the bench, so I worry about a little bit about him if that game did blow out, because that would hurt his minutes a bit. Kevin Huerter at 4.8, I'd probably prefer him. He showed a pretty
Hear
good
that, Clyde? Huerter over Monk.
What?
Clyde's messaging me every day. He thinks Malik Monk's better than Kevin Huerter. Your thoughts?
No, that's wrong, but that's okay. It's just Monk has really good Monk has really good usage. Like, for instance, Spread, if you remember Malik Monk on the Lakers last year?
I mean, barely.
Yeah, because he never played because he wasn't that good. Like, if you put Kevin Huerter in that role last year for the Lakers, they would have been screaming for someone like him on their team. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Kevin Huerter's definitely better. Kevin Huerter's stuck playing with who? He plays with Fox and he plays with Sabonis. They only play with one basketball. Like, his job is to be a 3-and-D guy, but his role increases in this spot. We've seen that with the Hawks. When they're missing guys, what happened? Kevin Huerter would have 40-point DK games. Don't sleep on Kevin Huerter at 4.8. I think he's a better play than Fox. I don't mind him. Harrison Barnes at 4.6. He had that 47.75 DK point game. Do I expect him to do that again? No. Do I need him to do that again? No. I think he's in the conversation. He's more of like hey, I kind of backloaded a bit and like maybe the Bones Highland stuff didn't work or something's not working out. And maybe I find a way to get to him in like a 2v2, right? So yeah, overall, this is a game that we could have some value, but again, we need to kind of wait on the news. That's kind of one of the keys. And I'm not saying it's a slate you want to backload everything, but you could have some stuff open up later on that could be pretty valuable.
Why is Ty Lue catching slander in the chat right now? What do you guys expect him to do? He didn't sign off on this Russ deal. I'll tell you that much. I think he's a great coach. I think he's good. I think he's in a tough situation.
I don't know about a great coach.
Who's better? Okay. Is he a top 10 coach in the league? I say yes. Really?
I said no. What did you say, Todd?
Yes. Name me 10 coaches right now are better than a Mangone.
See, like this is like a long segment you're signing me up for here.
Yeah, but that's what we're putting you to work, Travis.
Okay. I don't know all the names of the coaches. Sometimes I forget. So let's see.
That's fine. We'll help you.
You can just say the teams.
I'm gonna say the Celtics coach, even though Tyler doesn't like it. But we won't put him in. Let's go with the Cavs coach. What's his name again? I'm blanking.
Bickerstaff.
Yeah, I like what Bickerstaff. I like Bick. Yeah, he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad with Memphis, right? I like Bickerstaff a little bit. I don't think he's bad. I like Quinn Snyder a lot. That's a steal right there. I know that wasn't the, but I'm stealing that one for sure. Spoelstra, I like Spoelstra.
Okay, we'll give you that.
I'm trying to think if I want to put Nick Nurse in there.
Yes, he's in there.
Yeah, I'll put Nurse in. Rick Carlisle. I actually like Carlisle from like
not anymore.
10 years ago, not anymore.
So from DFS wise, he sucks. But I think actual coach, I think he's like good.
He couldn't win with Luka.
I mean, no, that's a whole other conversation. They don't have help. Like they're that's a whole other. I think Carlisle's like actually like knows how to grind stuff out like that.
He's like Doc Rivers in the chat. He was good 10 years ago.
Who's better, Travis? Ty Lue or Mike Malone?
I mean, I'll never give Mike Malone a backing. So I gave you 5 so far. I'm just trying to see if
All
I
right, Steve Kerr.
Also, keep in mind, like while we're doing this, someone might be like, "You put that guy, like you put Rick Carlisle in over him." Like, to be fair, a lot of these guys aren't good. Like, at least in my opinion. Let's see.
Steve Kerr better.
Oh yes, Kerr is in there. Kerr's better.
My guy, Mike Brown.
I like Mike Brown. He was never that bad, right? He was with the Cavs before, was it?
Yeah.
I don't mind Mike Brown. I was actually thinking about him because he won coach of the month last month. Like they were 8-4 or whatever, and I was like, good for him. So I put him in there. Memphis's coach is shown to be pretty good, right? You agree?
You got to give him credit.
Yep, we'll put him in there. You got to put Monty in there, right, from Phoenix?
Yes.
Yeah, you got to put Monty in. What do you guys think of Jason Kidd?
No.
I agree. I'm not huge on Jason Kidd, but I'm just trying to give him some credit for what he did this past year. But I'm cool not putting him in there. Then there's Ty Lue. I don't want to support him. What about
spread? We're giving credit for what they did last year, and we're going back in the past. But Ty Lue's got a ring.
No, I know. Yeah, I mean, but again,
he like wins series with players missing. He makes great adjustments in playoff series. So what has JB Bickerstaff ever done in a playoff series? So and Ty Lue won with the same team that Mike Brown couldn't win with.
Let's finish the list. I'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
I'm blanking on the Timberwolves coach.
How about Budenholzer?
No, I'm not putting Budenholzer. So Minnesota's coach, I'm blanking on his name. I like
Chris Finch.
I like Finch. Yeah, I don't know why I blank on these names so much, but I like
Chris Finch is better than Ty Lue, but we'll keep going.
I like what Finch plays his guys through fouls, and other people don't do that stuff. They have 3 fouls, and he actually plays the guys. Like he knows what he's doing. I'm not saying he made the Rudy Gobert trade.
I think he's a good coach too. I just don't think he's better than Ty Lue.
I think he is, but we don't know anything about the Jazz coach, and I'm not putting him in there. Pelicans coach is Willie Green.
He's not better than Ty Lue.
I just don't think I can put Willie in there yet. Darvin Ham, no. Chauncey Billups, no. One thing I don't love the Thunder's coach from a DFS perspective, Mark D. I can't say nothing.
Yeah.
I do think he does a really good job adjusting during games, but
okay.
Like I can't do it with full confidence because of how bad they've been, but I do think he does a good job adjusting. The one thing I'll give you with Ty Lue is he does know how to make adjustments. My problem is I think he does it too late. I really do. I think he takes way too long to do it. But
okay.
But
I know that was rough, Travis.
To be
but
fair,
I think that was
I'm
a
at
good
9
segment.
or 10, so like he's like because I was having this conversation in the chat the other day with JT and some other people, and like I think like I don't think Ty Lue is like the greatest, but like one thing I'll give is I've seen him adjust in playoff series. I have seen him do it. Like it's not a lot of coaches do that well. That's one reason I give Carlisle the credit too. Is he's when the playoffs are on, he adjusts very well. I think you overlooked that a lot, Spread.
All right, so I'm a big.
I think he's middle of the pack. I'll put Ty Lue as a middle of the pack coach. We'll go with that.
All right, I think Ty Lue is getting unfair slander in the chat,
we didn't mention Pop, by the way. Pop should be in.
Yeah, Pop's. Yeah,
sorry, I was at the end of the list.
I know, but that's a no-brainer, right? I mean, we're not arguing that.
Yeah. No, it's fair. Someone said it. Who is Orlando's coach? It's not Steve Clifford. Is now with the Charlotte again.
It's what's the kid's name? Mosley.
I'm not sure. One thing that's hard to justify too, and like it's hard to do it with like for instance, one reason I struggled with putting Willie Green in there is I've never seen Willie Green like really coach in the postseason, right? Like we saw it a little bit last year, but like we just haven't seen it enough. So that's why like you can make the case like, well, should Chris Finch be in there? Like because we haven't really seen him like making adjustments. Like my biggest knock against Ty Lue is he takes too long to adjust. And I'm telling you one thing, I know he won a ring, but he won a ring because the Warriors said it perfectly. Kyrie and LeBron played literally top 99.9 percentile. Like it was to the point where they were like, we were playing great and we couldn't understand how they were beating us. Like they were just unbelievable. Like it was just a LeBron all-time series. That's why he has a ring, Spread. I'm sorry to say.
I'm just saying he succeeded with the team that Mike Brown didn't succeed with. So
great.
You can't put Mike Brown over him.
I think Mike Brown over him.
Oh my God, this is unbelievable. The New Orleans Pelicans are plus 4.5. They're in Golden State taking on Steve Kerr, the great coach in the Warriors. And Warriors, everyone trashes coaches. I see everyone on Twitter trashing Steve Kerr. You gotta be kidding me. They're minus 4.5 tonight.
Steve, if you see it on Twitter, you might be seeing the DFS community. He's very frustrating from a DFS perspective.
I follow a ton of Warriors fans because I'm a North NorCal guy.
Okay.
So just people I know, friends.
Yeah, I'm just saying it could be the DFS slander because, like, yeah, it is frustrating, but he's a great
No. Let me jump in, and then we're going to get off this. LeBron was not the coach of that team. And they all said when LeBron tried to talk in the huddles, Ty Lue said, shut the fuck up. And he was the first one to stand up to LeBron. And that's when the Cavaliers knew they had a coach, and he wasn't running the team. So I'm pushing back on that. Ty Lue was the coach of that team.
By the way,
who wasn't the coach of LeBron, who made Travis's list? Mike Brown.
Yeah, because that's who Lue took over for.
By the way, just want to clarify. I said at the 58 mark we were doing great and we were going to close this out, and then Spread had me break
that
down.
was my fault.
Spread had me break down 30 damn coaches in the league. Like just
that's my fault because you slandered Ty Lue, and I didn't think you were going to be able to.
We're not here for Ty Lue's slander, man. I think the Lue's been dealt a bad hand.
And Spread, he went through every team and told us how the coach was somehow better than Ty Lue.
I didn't go through everyone. I'll say this. I think he's more middle of the pack. I think he's like maybe like between like 15.
I mean, who'd you leave out? Jacques Vaughn? I mean, he's the only one you didn't mention.
I mean, I didn't talk about Thibs.
Okay. Who do you like better, Lue or Tibbs? I like Lue better.
Yeah, I like Lue better.
All right.
Thibs literally destroys his players. Like
it's just ridiculous. Let's talk about the Warriors laying 4.5 after the beatdown of Ty Lue and the Los Angeles Clippers last night. Steve Kerr, coaching genius on display. The total was 230.5. Can Willie Green lead his team to cover the spread or maybe even get the victory tonight, Tyler?
No. Just looking at this game, I mean, the Pelicans, they're without Josh Richardson for personal reasons. Joe Bell's probably going to sit. I know Golden State's at home where they play very well. We seen them last night.
Josh Richardson mean to the spread? 0.1?
I mean, for a Pelicans team that's missing a lot of guards, he's got to mean a little bit more.
I'm messing with you.
Like when you're bringing in like Kyra
I'm in
Lewis
argument mode now that I got to defend Ty Lue.
Yeah, like Kyra Lewis off the bench isn't much of an upgrade there. I think it's a big downgrade. So I'm taking the Warriors at home. We know how this goes spread. They're 26-7 at home. It's a short spread. Give me the Warriors at home.
Yeah, hey, I underestimate the Pelicans, though. I love the Blazers on Wednesday night, and Pelicans look pretty good there. Brandon Ingram knocked one of our guys.
I will say we had that game until Simons had to go to the locker room because that took the extra threat of an option off the floor for the Blazers. And then they just double Dame every time.
I can't believe Jeremy Grant turned down an extension. You're watching him. He is not the dude.
No, he's not. He's one of those guys that thinks he could do everything, but he could do like two things.
That might be like Sprewell where he turns down $120 million and then he's going to get
he got offered a bag. The thing is, you know why he might still have that bag there? No one wants to go to Portland.
That's fair.
Like that deal is still on the table in the offseason spread.
All right.
That's the key. Like it's like if he denies that bag, who else are they getting instead? Like they're trying to build something around Dame now. Like they need to build it like today. And you can make the case that Jeremy Grant, like if I told you Jeremy Grant in the next like 2 to 3 years could be on a title team, he has the ability to, right? Now it depends what the contract.
Yeah, is the 7th best player.
I'm just saying, like, no, not 7th. He could be the 5th best player.
All right.
Just hypothetically.
I'm not giving my 5th best player $120 million over 3 years.
Hypothetically, say Dame gets to the offseason, he's like, all right, like it's run its course. Like I just want to leave now. If you're Milwaukee, how much you giving up to get him there?
Nothing.
I think you're crazy. I think that pairing of him and Giannis would just be unstoppable.
Jeremy Grant?
No one has ever.
I'm sorry. Okay. I completely misunderstood.
I
took the Grant. You guys are still talking about a bum named Grant. I moved on to the superstar team.
I thought Tyler said that Jeremy Grant and Giannis. I was like, no one has ever said Jeremy Grant and X would be unstoppable.
You guys are too deep into the role player hole. Like,
because when me and Travis get together, all we want to do is slander people.
17 minutes into the show, we're talking about Jeremy Grant.
Well, I don't know.
Save us, Travis. Break down the game.
I don't know how to save us right now. This is
Minnesota Lakers. Let's get that spread.
Yeah,
well, no, hold on. Any plays for the Pelicans Warriors? We got to at least find that out.
Oh yes, Pelicans Warriors. This is actually a big DFS game for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's see. Willie Hernan Gomez is the talk of the town today. 4.3K. Hard not to like him. Bigs against Warriors have absolutely crushed. Also, the Warriors are like kind of in like the handshake agreement to like play bigger, right? Just because they got Looney and like they're down Curry, like it definitely has helped them out a bit. Let's see, what is the injury report for the Warriors? I just want to. There could be a lot of questionable tags that I'm missing.
No, there's not.
Yeah, I know. Clay is like playing through back-to-backs now, which is good for him. To be fair, his minutes could be monitored with, right? Like I mean, if they're up 15 and cruising, right, you let Ty Jerome keep cruising and maybe don't bring in Clay quicker. Like just little things like that could be a little finicky to think about. But the Pelican side is the key one because Valanciunas likely not going to play. Going to be good for Ingram. Going to be good for Hernan Gomez. I think they're really good players.
So can we clarify this? Does Brandon Ingram have a ceiling?
He does. I'm not. Yeah, I do think he has a ceiling. He's been great, man. And you know what he is, Spread? He is kind of like De'Aaron Fox to the Kings, right? Like the closer, right? The guy that if you don't get that fourth quarter run, yeah, his ceiling's probably not going to be there. But when you get that fourth quarter run from him, he's going to close that game out and going to close it out nicely for you. He's going to be ball handling the entire time. I mean, we saw it against the Magic when I was making fun of the Paolo. We saw Paolo was closing it out. Well, who's closing it out on the other end, Spread? It was Brandon Ingram, right? And it's like – And you would assume in a game against the Warriors, it's going to be likely competitive enough. I think Brandon Ingram's going to get that full run. You're going to see a good game out of him. 8-6, I think he's a good play. Someone that I'm looking the roster. As a leverage play, I wouldn't hate CJ McCollum at 7.8K. think he's in the conversation for sure as a pretty good DFS play if you want to spend there. So I think you have to like some plays here. Golden State, like I said, Klay Thompson, you could definitely make a case for him. His ceiling has been great, but the back-to-back, you worry a little bit about it. If you see the Pelicans play big with Willie Hernangomez, what about Kevon Looney on the other side at his price tag? I know the minutes have been a little tough, but this is a matchup where I think he has to play a little bit more, right? You could make the argument the last two matchups, Portland and Clippers, 23 minutes, 25 minutes. Aren't those games that go a little bit smaller spread, especially when they were missing Zubac? Well, when they played Minnesota, 32 minutes. Played Houston, got to 26 minutes, only shot one, shot two, and got you 26 DK points. I think Kevon Looney, don't completely sleep on him DFS-wise today. I think he could have a pretty good game here in this spot. So overall, this is a good game to get some exposure to. Dante DiVincenzo, I didn't mention him either, but I think he's another guy not to totally sleep on in this matchup. I think it's going to be a fast-paced game. He was my play of the day yesterday. I ended up getting, 27. It wasn't amazing, but 5-7, I think he's got upside. I think you can make a case for him. So overall, this is a good game. But you want to focus on the Pelicans' values first. I think that's the key here. That's one of the biggest things on this slate. It's Brandon Ingram is a really good spend, and Willie Hernangomez is a good value. And another guy not to sleep on is like a cheap value who will probably come off the bench. But Jackson Hayes at 3.8. Only played 16 minutes last time, got you 32.5. The minutes aren't safe, but if he plays 20-plus minutes, I would definitely sign up to play some Jackson Hayes at that price.
I don't know why David Porter wants to fade the Warriors at home again. The Warriors at home have been the money. And let's go ahead and get the chat going. I think Kevon Looney is the most underrated player in the NBA. Drop who you think is the most underrated player in the NBA in the chat. We'll go ahead and read some of those out if we have time. Also, give us that thumbs up. RunPureSports.com, where you go for the best in sports gambling and daily fantasy information. Tyler, we made it. We're on the last game of the night. Can you believe it? Putting Travis on Friday. Wow, who made that call? Minnesota Timberwolves -1. They're in LA. They're taking on the Lakers. The total is 227.5. Start with you, Tyler. You can be first for the Rudy Gobert slander.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to play. I don't see his name anywhere on this injury report. We get no D'Angelo Russell revenge because he's still out. AD's back in, though, so he should smash this spot. I mean, they're either going to have to put an undersized big on him or Gobert's going to have to chase him around the perimeter, so don't like either of those. Don't mind his double-double and win here at plus 130 because even with these guys out, this Lakers team just fights. Jared Vanderbilt was the steal of the trade deadline. He's in a matchup against his former team, so you can make the argument he's in the revenge spot. And I don't mind sprinkling on his rebounds at 8.5. You're getting plus 110 on that. He's feasted on the boards. We know he could beat up Gobert down low and get those boards too. And AD might have Gobert out on the perimeter trying to cover the 3 line too. So love the Vanderbilt props, and I think the Lakers win this game.
Travis, it's your time to shine. Rudy Gobert is playing tonight. Talk to me about your thoughts when Rudy Gobert suits up for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy Gobert yes, they beat the Clippers the other day, but that's because, another overrated player, Russell Westbrook, was playing basketball on the other side. So it's like superstar subtraction. It's like, shitty player canceling each other out. So, you know what I mean? That's how it goes. I will definitely be on the other side here. I think the Lakers is a better bet than the Timberwolves side, as crazy as that sounds. So, DFS-wise, obviously this is going to be a really good game for value because if you look, no D'Angelo Russell revenge. LeBron James is out. Opens up a ton of value for us. Now, do we have some adjustments on some price tags? Malik Beasley went from 4.5 to 5K. Jared Vanderbilt went from 4.8 to 5.6. Rui, 3.8 to 4.2. Reeves, 3.7 to 4.1. We've seen adjustments on these price tags. And that was the game before. Anthony Davis, he was out. Now that he's in, there's still some guys I think you can like. I think AD at his price is a good spend up that you want to consider at 10-2. I think he can dominate Gobert in this matchup. Dennis Schroeder at 5'8", still has that 40-point ceiling. I don't think Vanderbilt's a bad play. Beasley could easily have a big game. It's just a matter of if the 3 ball's falling. So I think there are some good plays on the Lakers side that you don't want to completely ignore. Timberwolves side, I like me some Ant Edwards. I don't think he's popping that much today, but I'm not dying to get there with Ant today. I don't think it's just too necessary for me. Trying to think if Kyle Anderson could be in play at 5'4". I mean, he's fine, but not someone that's a priority. I think overall, the Timberwolves side is kind of tough to get to spread. I think it's mainly looking at some of these Lakers like AD, Schroeder, and some of these other values, and then kind of moving on.
All right, I wish I had one of those soundtracks there, so I give us a round of applause for making it through the slate. Tyler, any more general thoughts before we do the best bets?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
Because the show hasn't been long enough. I mean, they're definitely not getting their money's worth in the chat today. Let's do it. Best bet for today, side total prop. And Tyler, give them your promo code while you're at it.
Looking at this one, I'm going to go with the Banchero props. I think he lines up to have a big game. I like his points the most over that 19.5. I think he smashes Charlotte, and use my promo code if you sign up today, Tyler15.
15% off, the best in daily fantasy and sports gambling information. Travis, your best bet for the day.
Yeah, so we talked about a lot on this show. Tyler, what do we have on the Capella rebounds? Let's start there.
11.5.
What's double-double and win? And win. Let's do that too.
I got to pre-build that one on DraftKings. Give me 1 minute.
All right, pre-build that. I'm curious because I know we've talked about a lot, but I think that's where I'm leaning, like that area. From what we talked about, I try to think about like what is like the best memory I have of something I liked a lot, and I think that would be it right now. That could be a nice one. Let me see. The Hawks are 7.5, and I mean
minus 110.
Yeah, let's go with that. We'll go with Clint Capella and the Hawks win minus 110. You get to eliminate the 7.5 points by betting on Clint Capella to get a double-double. And I think they're going to use Clint Capella a lot for sure. And I mean, he's been pretty good. So, yeah, we'll go with the double-double. And Portland's an easy matchup for him. So we'll go with that as the best bet, minus 110. Hawks win and Clint Capella double-double.
All right, give me the Denver Nuggets -5. My promo code SPREAD15. We're here Monday through Friday giving you guys the winners. And as you can see, we take plenty of tangents as well. So there you have it. 90 minutes, but we broke down the whole slate. But that's not all the content we have here for you at Run Pure Sports. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. They go live. And Travis will be on that show, right? The Hardwood show starts in about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So you get to say all this stuff again. And then, of course, the final countdown where you can get close to 2 to 3 minutes of JSU breaking down the slate. And, of course, the rest of the fellas in there. So, of course, become a member at runpuresports.com, promo code SPREAD15. Travis, words of wisdom before we get out of here.
Yeah, I got one out there, parlay, and I can't, of course. Oh, no, I can cook it up here real quick. Let me see. So, oh, no, they're not. I was hoping they were a dog. Well, there's three money lines I like tonight. I think Hawks money line would be a good one to toss in there. Let's see what – I'm pulling it up now. I know it's lame content that we're doing here, but, hey, we're 28 minutes in. What's 2 more minutes, right? Hawks money line we'll toss in there. We talked about the Knicks earlier. We'll toss them in. And then I'm going to toss in the Kings because I don't trust the Clippers. It gets us plus 188. So if you wanted to, I can't find a dog I'm liking throwing in that gets us enough that I was seeing.
Who's your favorite dog on the slate, Tyler, to win straight up?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. What's yours? Do you got one, Tyler? I was trying to figure that out. I thought the Magic could be it, but the Magic aren't dogs. It's
got to be the Jazz.
Yeah,
no, that doesn't count. They're plus 1.
That's what I mean. That's
Give us a real dog.
It's tough. It's not easy today for sure. I was saying the Pelicans could be it too, but
Miami.
Yeah, probably Miami there. I can't disagree.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the Knicks more there, but I get it.
I do too, but it's just like it lines up for that spot where it's like, oh, here comes the Knicks to smash Miami.
And you won 7 in a row. You're in one of the biggest.
Oh, they're all hungover in the first quarter. It's like, oh, son of a bitch, here we go with this.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate switching because I do like Orlando. I wouldn't hate switching the Knicks one to Orlando if you wanted. And
I wouldn't mind getting your team in there. I know they're minus 590, but it's gonna get you up to 2-1. And I don't think they lose that game to Brooklyn.
Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. The Magic one's not. We'll switch it to let's be a little scared of the Knicks one and go Hawks, Kings, and Magic. That'll be the money line plus 175. If you want to do one, that's fun, but it's not one of my favorite ones I've given out. I'll say that.
All right, Travis is counting on everybody to light the beam. That's it for us, guys. Travis will be back in an hour. Make sure you tune in, and we'll see what's changed by then. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back Monday, noon Eastern, with JC Zargo. Run Pure.